Hello, welcome back. We're at Beaver Creek and I'm with Alistair Steele, the CEO of GoldMining Inc. Alistair, good to be with you again.
Pleasure to be here. Thanks for having me on today, Peter.
No, more than welcome. I think we last had a chat, maybe at PDAC. It's been an interesting year for you guys. Before we go into the full story and what you've been up to, why don't you just give a brief overview and we'll dive in.
Yeah, absolutely. It's certainly been a very exciting year for the company as we've transitioned from what has historically been more of a holding company with a large portfolio of resource ounces, all focused in the Americas. It's a big portfolio of assets, 12.5 million gold equivalent ounces measured and indicated, and a further 9.7 million gold equivalent ounces in the inferred. So big resource portfolio underpinned by a strong and healthy balance sheet. We have cash and cash equivalents, as well as a very large marketable securities portfolio. And so that really, when you take those out of the picture, the remaining equity or the remaining resources are getting a very small value. And really our focus this year is unlocking value from that portfolio of gold-focused assets.
Yeah, why don't we go into that just to begin with, just a recap. I know we talk about it most of the time you're on, but it's quite a disconnect in a way. It's obviously you've got around 20 million ounces gold equivalent in the ground, measured, indicated and inferred, and you're, in terms of cash and equivalents, you're sitting on what, about 150 million Canadian, around that?
Approximately, sure.
Yeah, so if you subtract that from your market cap, you're 20 million ounces in the ground for 80 million Canadian, or is it American, sorry, US?
It's about a 200 million Canadian market cap company, okay. 210 in that range.
So in terms of your enterprise value as such, what?
Yeah, so on a per ounce basis, whether you look at indicated and measured or inferred or any combination thereof, you can see a fundamental gap between what we've seen other companies being acquired for and other companies valued at. I think that's largely because this portfolio has been as one entity. People treat it as one entity. Sometimes it's easier to discount an entity when you don't understand the individual components. So what our task has been is to stay focused on perhaps 2 or 3 projects a year, unlock value from those, show the true value there, to try and increase value for our shareholders.
Yeah, look, I think this is it. It's obviously if all of these ounces or all of these assets were in production, I think your market cap would be astronomical. Yeah. But look, I think like you said, it's a small team, it's a tight-knit group, very experienced team, and you've got to pick your winners at the end of the day, haven't you? So why don't we run through that at the moment? Obviously, you had a PA out on La Mina in Colombia last year that looked very positive. That looks like it's a project that's ready to start progressing. You're working on San Jorge at the moment. I noticed that you've got some drill results out. Let's talk about your winners that you think are going to really bring you to that next level moving forward.
Yeah, well, let's maybe just start right in Brazil, because we had news out earlier this week on our San Jorge project. Released the final 2 holes from a 1,000-meter drill program this year, and I point out it's the first drill program on the project in about 12 years. So very significant to reactivate the project. We are very keen on the exploration potential. And we attempted to do a few things, and we were successful in doing so. First of all, we wanted to confirm the continuity of the higher grade core of the deposit. We demonstrated that with some very strong drill results earlier this summer. And the last release, we've actually now stepped away from the known resource. In fact, we've now stepped a kilometer away from known mineralization, an area with no drilling. And again, we've hit mineralization. So I think that's really a strong indication of where San Jorge has the potential to grow. And in addition to that drilling that we announced, we also started an auger drilling program. And the auger drilling is a way to very efficiently and cost effectively target about the first 10 to 15 meters through soils and just above bedrock. And with that, we've now targeted some multi-gram per ton intersections, which we can tie to bedrock. So we have some additional targets now we've put in that press release showing there may be multiple zones here stacked up in different parallel zones, which gives further opportunity to explore and potentially increase the size and the quantity of the resources on the property.
Okay, good. Yeah, obviously I was just reading through some of those press releases earlier. Obviously some pretty good results there. I've got here 19 meters at 1.2 grams at from 61 meters. You've got 37 meters at 2.2. Some pretty nice intercepts. What's the plan with this deposit? Obviously you've proven that there's gold in the system a kilometer away as well with the press release that you announced recently. Obviously it needs a bit more drilling by the sounds of it. You need to build this thing out.
It does. It's actually getting exciting because what is known as the resource right now, I think is really the tip of the iceberg. And we can update that resource with the new drilling we have. We're also looking to expand it now, and that's sort of where we've been building a database. Started with soils, identifying a broad regional anomaly, zeroing in on that with the auger drilling, And now we can follow that up with RC and core drilling to further expand that resource. And remember, this is a district that's had some great news recently. This is Pará State in Brazil. GoldMining have done a fantastic job of bringing Tocantinzinho into commercial production. That's in the same state. That's actually along the same geological trend, about 70 kilometers away. So it's a growing district with some great success, and we're looking to be part of that growing future in Pará State.
Good. Also, just anecdotally, it's for those in the UK who are watching this, you'll probably know a company called Sarabi Gold that are in the same area as well. So just to contextualise where it is, which is obviously a producing high-grade mine listed in London. Okay, so that's going on at San Jorge, and that's getting exciting, and obviously it's quite exciting that you guys are now starting to reignite that project. I think the real question is with GoldMining is where the value comes from, because you've demonstrated value in the spin out of Whistler with US Gold. Right. You've also demonstrated quite a lot of value with the royalties on all of the assets that you've then spun out into Gold Royalty, and then they've gone in with David and really built this what will be this year I think net cash flow positive. And if you look at their growth pipeline with sort of Cote and Ren and Odyssey all coming online and ramping up, that's now looking like an exciting future and something that you're going to benefit from quite substantially. But it seems as though you're a bit of a hybrid company almost between an explorer, a developer, but also maybe a portfolio holder, merchant bank type. Like what is GoldMining? Is that the right way to look at this in terms of that's where the value comes from, the spin out model and the JV?
Well, it is. I think it's probably difficult to pigeonhole it into one of those categories, because we enjoy the benefits of experiencing all of them. And in fact, as you've mentioned, we've benefited by putting value onto our balance sheet with marketable securities and spin outs. We formed JV partnerships, so we have contingent payments yet to come on one of our projects, and that's another model. We have an optionality of having a uranium property in there. We'll get into that as another optionality. And then we still have 7 projects with resources on them, which we can have optionality on. We won't be able to work them all, the size of our company, but we can certainly focus on a couple of them to continue to unlock value. So it is a bit of a hybrid model. The strengths of a lot of different characteristics, whether it be a merchant bank, whether an explorer developer, whether it be a project generator, all kind of funneled together, but run by a very experienced management team. Right from our top level, where we have co-chairman Amir Adnani, he's a serial entrepreneur, has now 5 companies, including the multi-billion-dollar UEC companies founded. And David Garofalo has come on as our co-chair last year. Decades of experience in the gold mining industry and mining industry, leading our company. And we've added to our technical team, bringing in strengths of very senior geologists from the likes of Newmont. And I always say to people, when I can recruit geologists to work for our company from Newmont, it's not necessarily because I'm paying them more. They want to be part of a thrill of discovery. They're excited by our projects. They've done their homework. They've looked at the technical reports. They want to be part of that team moving those projects forward. So that gets exciting. Yeah,
it's exciting. It depends how you look at things, because obviously you can be an investor that looks at a single asset company that wants to bet the house on this thing becoming a mine or growing out and becoming the next best thing, or you can have a company like yourselves where you've got lots of potential deposits that have that potential to get significant scale, but at the same time you've got like US Gold Corp, Whistler being developed, you own 80% of that. Success there is success for you. Same with Gold Royalty.
Exactly.
And I guess, like you were saying with these, you've only got enough time and people to work on the ones that you can win, but you've got this pipeline that you're progressing through the development stage that you can sort of keep doing this for quite an amount of time. Obviously San Jorge is on the radar now. What are the other projects that you're potentially looking at JVing or doing something with at the moment?
Well, as I say, with 7 projects at the resource stage, all of them could be partnerships. We'll give the example when we optioned off our Almaden project, now been renamed Nutmeg Mountain, to a company called Nev Gold. Oh, yeah. And when we optioned that off, we'd acquired it 1 year prior for just over $1 million. The total value of the agreement to acquire it was $16.5 million. Wow. So a great return on our investment. And the beauty is, currently today, we own approximately 28% of the equity in Nev Gold. So any success they have from exploration, we benefit from. They're self-sufficient companies, so they have to fund themselves. We don't have to fund it, but we get all the upside for exploration. That works very well. That model can be used for some of our other projects that we haven't even talked about today. We have one project in Peru that has a nice solid resource in an area which has neighbors drilling on either side of it right now. We've got 3 projects in Colombia with gold and copper in them. One of which we talked about, La Mina, having a fresh PEA. And I think back just over a year ago, in 2023, we put a PEA out at 1750 gold price.
Yep.
So already, if we had to refresh that with a modern price, and we're seeing a number of releases this week with other companies doing PEAs at 1950 gold, sensitivity $2,400, $2,500 gold, the value of that one PEA alone on NAV basis, is more than the market cap of our entire company. So that's the optionality of having these assets. Each one of them can significantly move the needle for our company.
Good, and obviously let's talk about this wild card, the uranium, the uranium play. I only just started really digging into this over the last couple of days. Obviously, we had this interview lined up, and I thought, what's GoldMining doing with a uranium project? Didn't think much about it. And then I'd looked into, obviously, you're in the Athabasca Basin, which is a big tick, great infrastructure, which as you usually find. But what's really interesting is who basically you surround within the license. Why don't you just tell us a little bit about the partnership with Rhino and essentially what's going on there?
Exactly. So we're talking about the Rhea uranium project, which is in Alberta, Canada, which is in the western part of the Athabasca Basin, which is home to some of the known highest grade producing uranium mines and projects in the world. So it's a great jurisdiction. It's about 125,000 hectares, so it's huge in size. And we have a 25% partner in Orano, who are a French multinational uranium producer, which is a great partner to have. And they actually own a project in the center of our claim block, the Maybelle River deposit, which is a known uranium occurrence. We have a large regional land package surrounding that with known occurrences of uranium and a number of targets we're developing to advance with drilling. So it's the right jurisdiction. We have a good partner. We're actually in the stage now, we're working on permitting so we can consider all options for this project.
Good.
It gets very exciting. We, of course, are, by our very name, GoldMining Inc. Uranium is not our focus, but we want to make sure we extract the best value for our shareholders from this project. That could be by us either drilling it ourselves once we've permitted it. We could put it into a new vehicle to spin it out, or we could find a partner who wants to buy it or JV with us. So all three options still on the table. All of them would add some nice value from what we arguably have right now as a hidden asset within our portfolio.
How did Orano get the 25%? Is there a relationship there already? What does that
There
look
was
like?
an original JV agreement where one side earned in and the other one did a partial earn in. So that's how the original, and remember we acquired this asset in 2013 from Brazilian Gold. It's sat idle since then.
It's just been on the shelf ever
So
since.
it's been waiting for the opportunity. We think the opportunity is now with the uranium markets the way they are. It's a great opportunity to try and move it forward.
Okay, all right. And just but I wasn't too familiar with Orano. I did some. They just released their half-year results, and a few weeks ago I watched the presentation earlier. They're estimating around 4.8 billion euros in revenue in 2024. EBITDA margins 22 to 24%. A positive net cash flow. Massive player in Niger. How important is this asset to them in Athabasca Basin? How much work are they doing on it? Because obviously politically Niger is becoming a lot more difficult. I'm assuming they're trying to diversify, but I don't know. Asking you.
Well, I can't speak for Orano, but as you say, this is one of the top mining jurisdictions I think in the world. And Alberta is more known for its oil industry, but it is very much a province in Canada that relies on the extractive industries. So it's open for business, which is very encouraging. And I think any company, whether it's us or Orano or any company, would be pleased to do business in a jurisdiction such as Canada, particularly Alberta, which is a foundation on the extractive industry. So jurisdiction is right. What their commitment to it is, that's really a bit of a wild card for us.
Have they done any work on because obviously the area that you own is essentially surrounding their 100% license, right?
Correct.
That 100% license that they own, are they doing any work on that, or have they indicated
Not for the last couple of years, but I can't say whether they're going to start it up again. But one of the things that we've started looking at is reinterpreting some of the data on the project. And what we've discovered is that all the cores that were drilled historically on this project have been meticulously stored and stockpiled indoors, so they're in good shape. Some of the drilling was 15 years ago. There's some new technology and new information we can extract from that core. So it's a process where our geological team is working with some experts and some consultants to try and extract data from the existing information we have to help us fine-tune our exploration targets going forward. And the beauty of that is it gives us better targets, and it's information we can extract for a pretty negligible cost.
Okay, all right, so subject to some interesting results on there, then we might see potentially a little bit more of a focus going into that project.
Yeah, we want to have it so that it's ready to go. And again, whether it's done by us or whether it's with a partner, whether a spin out, having that permitting in hand will be a key component of that.
That's a really interesting story. In terms of what we're expecting to see over the next 12 months, say we're sitting here next time next year, what are you expecting to be able to tell me?
Well, I expect to be able to tell you that we've made some continued advancement on those projects. Our 80% ownership interest in GoldMining Inc. is kind of at a critical stage. We're going into our second season of drilling. The crew has done some incredible work there, improving productivities. It's up some 50% from last year, so we're getting some good core in the box. Those results will be coming out this fall, and having a big stake of that will be very important for us. The work in Brazil will continue. We've got a lot of auger drill results yet to compile and yet to put out, so we'll fine-tune those targets, generating more targets, and leading right into budgeting time where we start laying out our next active projects into the fall and into the new year as well. So pretty exciting times for us. It's a great play to be in with exposure to gold, and I hearken it to the times in the past when gold price has gone up. Gold mining as a company has performed very well, and that was at a time when we were not active in our projects. Now we have the added ability to enhance value in a bull gold market. I think is really pouring an accelerant on the flame, so it creates a great opportunity.
Yeah, no, I completely agree. It's getting into, you're ramping up activity. Exciting to see you guys back out in the field doing drilling, getting back to work, and it's it's that diversification play, isn't it? It's not just banking everything on one project working. There's so many different ways that you guys could create value for shareholders. So look, love following the story. So Alistair, thank you for your time.
Pleasure to be here. I'd like to come back on again in the future.
Good, thank you.